Hi everyone, I am Vidit Bikasandik, an international federated chess player and a chess coach. Today I am going to show you an interesting game played between Yan Nepomuceni of Russia, who is world number 2 at present, and between Ding Liren of China, who is world number 3. So this game was played in the Fide World Chess Championships 2023, and this is game number 7. So let's start the game. Uh, Here, Yan Nepomuceni playing with white pieces played the e4 move. Uh, it is a pawn move playing in the center, so this is a good move. And Ding Liren replied with e6, which is called French defense, as you already know it. And now Nepo shows another center pawn into the action, that is d4. So black replied with d5, which is a common move in French defense. Here Nepo chose the Taras variation, which is very popular and played by top players over the years. So this is another good move. And in this position, Ding Liren played c5. Now he played c5 to counter the central pawn. So this is also a good move. And Yan Nepomuceni with white pieces defends his d4 pawn by developing a piece, that is knight gf3. This is also a good move, playing towards the center. So in this position, Ding played c into d4. You see, it is always a good for the side with side pawn exchange with the center pawn. So it is a good move, c into d4. Exchanging the side pawn with a central pawn is always good in chess. So in this position, Nepomuceni played knight into d4 to keep the material balance and also a piece sitting in the center. So this is a good move, knight into d4. And in this position, Ding Liren played knight f6. Is developing a minor piece towards the center with an attack. So this cannot be a bad move. This is a good move, knight f6. So in this position, Yan Nepomuceni played e into d5. You see, in this position, e5 cannot be played, because if white plays e5, then black may play knight fd7, creating pressure on e5. You see, if in this position white plays f4 to defend the e5 pawn, then black may answer with knight into e5. It's a very exciting move. And after knight into e5, f into e5, you see queen h4 and knight on d4 is hanging. So e5 pawn move is not playable in this position. So e into d5 is almost forced, and after e into d5, black played knight into d5, which seems to be logical move, because if black played e into d5, then this will give black a isolated pawn in the center, which is not good, as it creates positional weakness. So e into d5 is not a good move, a playable move. So knight into d5 is better than e into d5, which is played by Ding at the game. So in this position, white played knight 2 to f3. This knight comes to the center, opens up diagonal for the c1 bishop also. So this is a good move, and black answer with bishop e7. You see, bishop e7 is a developing move, preparing short side castling. So this is a good move, logical move, and white played bishop c4. This is also a developing move, also preparing short castling. This is a good move, and in this position, Ding Liren played knight c6. You see, he might also play knight d7 in this position. Knight d7, and after castle and rook e1, developing move, knight c5, c3, bishop f6, and black is not far behind in this position. It is a completely playable line. And in knight c6, after knight into c6, that is played in the game by Nepomuceni, it is to create permanent weakness on c6. This permanent weakness is a positional weakness, we may say. So after b into c6, which is almost forced, white played castle. So black also played castle, and both sides have completed one more opening task, that is castling. Castling gives king safety and a rook development. So this is a good move from both the sides. And white played, that means Nepo played in this position, queen e2. Queen comes to a safe square, vacating the d1 square for his rook. Now you may ask me question, why c1 bishop has not been developed yet? This is a very good question. The answer is c1 bishop is a flexible piece and it may be developed depending on the demand of the position. So bishop c1 is not developed yet, and white choose to play queen e2, and black play that means ding played bishop b7. It's a normal developing move, hoping to play c5 and activate the bishop in the long diagonal. So this is a good move also, and white played in this position bishop d3. Bishop comes back from c4 to d3. Why? To exert pressure on h7 weakness. White's idea is to play knight e5, queen h5, something like that. And if played knight f6, then knight g4 to create pressure on h7. So this is playable move, bishop d3. And in this position, black played queen c7. Why queen c7? Because it connects the rooks and completed the opening. So queen c7 is a good move that is played by Ding Liren. So in this position, Nepo played queen e4. White decides to go for direct attack. Where? h7. Now, again you may ask, this is a real attack or not? Black may play g6 or knight f6 and easily defend this position. You may ask me. But the thing is, after knight f6, which is played in the game, which is almost forced, you see black's knight has to come backward direction. That is the power of attack. If you attack something and the piece comes forward, then it is not what we call attack. Hope you understand. So queen e4 is not a bad move, it's a good move, it's attacking move. And if black played g6 in this position to counter the trade, then black may play g6 also, but he has to weaken the queen position. White may play bishop h6 to take advantage against g6 move. So this is also not a good move in this position. And after knight f6, white, that is Nepo played queen h4. Why queen h4? Because it keeps the pressure on h7, and black cannot attack this queen by playing knight d5 or knight e8 with the bishop on e7, as h7 is unguarded. The h7 pawn is unguarded, and it is attacked by queen h4 and bishop d3. So knight e8, knight d5 cannot be played in this position, and so queen h4 is a quite safe move to continue the attack. And in this position, Ding played c5 to open up the diagonal for the b7 bishop. This is a quite obvious move to play. And in this position, Nepo played bishop f4. Now this is the time to develop the flexible piece with attack. The piece could not develop when the knight on d5. You see, but now it may go there to its ideal position. That is why white delays developing the c1 bishop. Hope you understand. Now black played queen b6 to defend the queen. It goes forward, and white plays knight e5. Going forward, planning to play knight d7 is threat now to create a mating threat on the a7. So the next move is obvious move, rook a dy, to prevent the knight d7. This is obvious. So in this position, white played rook a e1. You see, before launching any attack, first bring your pieces to its ideal position. But there is a question, why rook a e1, why not rook f e1? There is a question to be asked. The answer is white has no play to play rooks on d and e5. White has no plan actually to play the rook on d1 and e1 parallelly. He concentrates only on e5. And in future, after f4, white may activate his f1. So rook a1 is completely playable in this position. That is played by Nepo, wall number 2. And in this position, Ding Liren played g6. Why g6? To counter the pressure on h7, blocking the diagonal for the d3 bishop. But he has to weaken his king side for doing this. That is also true. But he played g6. And after g6, as he weakens the f6 square, so this is called drawback access. This is called drawback access. Attack at the drawback of opponent's last move. And now in this position, the last move is g6, weakening f6. So after bishop g5, white keep pressure on the f6 weakness. which is just created by black playing g6. So bishop g5 is a very good move, is a logical move. So in this position, black played rook d4. This is also attacking move because white has to go back. He played queen h3. You see, black last move is to be considered as an attacking move as it forces white to go back. I hope you are now clear about the concept of attack. Your opponent has to go back when you attack, not come forward. So after queen h3, black played in this position, that is queen c7. Why queen c7? Because it prepared the c4 and keep the momentum for the black in the king's queen side. So queen c7 is a good move in this position, and white stops the black's intention, that is c4. So this move is obvious move played by Nepo, and black played in this position knight h5. The idea is to exchange the attacking pieces as well as active pieces in the king side to minimize the pressure. Black also intends to play knight f4. That is in the most favorable conditions. When the bishops are traded, then black will play knight f4. So this is a very good choice to play knight h5. In this position, Nepo played f4 because it looks very obvious, inviting black to play bishop into g5, so that white may create two permanent weaknesses on f6 and h6, the dark squares. So f4 is a move to be considered. Here, Ding Liren played bishop d6. He avoids the trade. He keeps the drag bishop. But the thing is, if black plays bishop into g5, here he has to lose the control over the f6 and g6 weakness. But if you analyze it, we will find that if there are dynamic prospects to cover up his permanent weaknesses, that is f6 and h6, then this will be a playable choice maybe. So let us start the analysis. After bishop into g5, if black chooses the bishop into g5, then what will happen? That f into g5, it is almost forced, and then knight f4. And this knight becomes an ideal piece all of a sudden. It covers up the f6 and also attacks lots of white's potential weaknesses. But here is a question, that is whether the dynamic play will be beneficial for black, as he has already created two weaknesses, that is f6 and h6. Does he get compensation in terms of dynamic play? That is the question of the moment. Okay, let's check it out. If in this position, if white played queen h6, which seems to be the best move in this position, because after rook into f4, if white plays rook into f4, then black will answer by rook into f4, and white play knight g4, preparing knight f6 checkmate. Then black will play h5, and black is quite okay here in this position, because after g into h6, c4 and h7 check, king h8, bishop into c4, and then queen a5. You see, black hold the position and is an advantageous position for black. White cannot claim any advantage in this position. Though black's king is slightly in the inferior position, white has no resources to attack it. So black hold the position with advantage. And in this position, black played c4 after queen h6. After queen h6, black played c4. This is the move which is a kind of follow-up to black's dynamic play. It not only attacks the bishop but also opens up the diagonal for the queen. You see, after knight g4, which is look most obvious, because bishop into c4, black will play queen c5 with better position for black. And if white play bishop into c4, then rook d2 comes with attack on g2. So knight g4 is the most obvious move in this position, preparing knight f6 checkmate. But the thing is, after f5, black has a good defensive resource. And you see, knight f6 check, then rook into f6, exchange sacrifice to minimize the pressure, to eliminate the attacking piece, g into f6, and now c into d3, and now f7. Why f7? To divert the c7 queen from f4. So this is a very good move, f7. Now queen into f7, and now rook into f4, rook into f4, and now queen into f4, and now d into c2, now queen c4, attacking the c2, and now bishop e4. And you see, position is much easier to play for black. The moral of the story is, if black would have played bishop into g5 instead of normal bishop d6, as he played in the game by Dinglerian, his dynamic play successfully covers up his permanent weaknesses. But you know, this is a world championship match, so what to do? Pressure is there. So let's go back to the game. And also f6 is unplayable in this position, you see, because queen into e6 check is there, so this is unplayable. So back to the game. In the game, white play c3 after Dinglerian played bishop d6. So it taking advantage against the rook, which is suffering from lack of space in the middle of the board. So c3 is played by Nepo, and Ding played knight into f4 in this position, which is most obvious choice played by Dinglerian, because if you play rook into rook d5, then there is a sort of bishop e4 is there, and rook d2 and knight c4. It gives whites a clear edge. So knight into f4, bishop into f4, rook into f4. The series of forcing exchanges is there, and rook into f4. Now bishop into e5, played by Dinglerian. Now rook h4, you see, and here Dinglerian played rook d8. You see, bishop into c3 will look little bit risky, and after bishop into g6, rook bishop into e1, bishop into h7, king g7, rook g4 check, king f6, queen e3. You see, bishop king e7, because queen g5 check is there, checkmate. So king e7 played, we played, then queen into e1 and rook a7. The position is equal, but it is little bit risky. The variation is very sharp. So white played this position, bishop e4, exchanging the bishop pair. It is a very obvious choice. When your opponent has bishop pair, you should exchange one of them. So bishop e4, and Dinglerian played bishop into e4. Now rook h into e4, and rook d5 is played. It is a very tricky move, inviting c4. Inviting c4, very tricky move. I will show you what happened after c4. So in this position, white played rook h4. But if he played c4, then bishop d4 check is there, and king h1 and rook h5, and black is better in terms of activity. So c4 is a positional blunder. So rook h4 played by white, that is Jan Nepomianci played rook h4. So in this position, queen d6 played, pressuring on by rook d3, preparing. So queen e3 played by Nepomianci. The idea of queen e3 is to play queen e6 to exert pressure on the h7 pawn. So Ding played h5, stopping the queen a6 idea. And in this position, Nepomianci played g3. Why g3? To neutralize the bishop on e5. In this position, Ding played bishop f6, attacking the rook on h4, and Nepo played rook c4, keeping pressure on c5. h4 played by Ding to disturb the pawn structure, so as to play bishop e5, keeping pressure on h2. It is a good move. Z into h4. Here, Ding was on a heavy time pressure in making his move. So he played rook d2, which is not a good move in this position. It is like a dubious move. It is a sort of bad move, you can say. So rook d2, he may play bishop e5 instead to maintain the balance of the position. But he chose rook d2 in time pressure, and Nepomianci played rook e2 to prevent queen h2 check and maintain the second rank. So in this position, he played another bad move in this position in time pressure. So he should play rook d1 instead, so that after king z2, queen c6, queen e4, white is still better here, but it is a better option to play rook d1 check. So after rook d3, white played queen into c5 and enjoys the material, and black played rook d1 check, and if queen into c5, then rook into c5, bishop into c3, king g2, and again white is better in this position. The endgame is favorable for white. So after rook d1, white played king g2, and Ding played queen d3, not exchanging the queen in this position. So white played rook f2, attacking the unguarded piece on f6 and preparing rook c2 f4 to create pressure on f7. So rook f2 is a good move, and in this position Ding played king g7, and after rook c into f4, you see Ding played queen into c3 and resigns in this position, as after queen into c3, bishop into c3, the series of exchanges, then white will simply play rook into f7, king h6, and rook into a7. So it gives black a hopeless position. So this is the 7th game of World Championship match 2023 between Jan Nepomuceni and Ding Liren. Hope you like this video. If you do so, please press the like button and also subscribe my channel so that I may produce more videos for you in near future. Thank you very much.